Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. We have here today the new issue of A World at War, which is shipping right now. This is issue number 93, and this is from Strategy and Tactics Press, known better to us perhaps as Decision Games, but Strategy and Tactics Press are the magazine wing of the company. So we're first of all going to take a look at the map, because I like to set these things up so that we can take a look at the map as our backdrop for the rest of the video. And it is a vertically oriented map, so everything is going to be sideways. Sorry about that. Pretty nice looking map, too. So map design here is by Todd Davis. Game design is from Javier Romero in this particular case. And we'll look at the magazine as well. We'll look at the magazine next. As we can see on the map here, we have the Courland Peninsula up here. There's a bit of Germany in the corner that I'm not sure you can see. We have Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. And of course, here's the USSR. And it's fall 1944, so it is not happy days for the Germans. So let's take a look at the magazine. I actually haven't bought a new one of these in a long time. If I haven't said so already, this is courtesy of Decision Games. So thank you, Decision Games, for sending me this. We have, let's take a look. We've got some advertisements. And because they're wargame advertisements, we're going to take a look at them. Drive on Suez. These are the upcoming games. Nope, these are the previous games that they probably still have in stock as back issues that you can get. So we have Drive on Suez, Rommel Drives Deep 1942, Operation Typhoon, we all know what that is. The Luzon Campaign, that one looks fairly interesting. Commandos, Europe, take a charge of a team of commandos in Europe and North Africa during World War II. Sounds potentially neat. Strike and Counterstrike, Army Group Center's Winter Battle 1941-42. That is actually fairly interesting, and that's probably the most interesting sector in that time period on the East Front. We have a big ad for the Axis Empire's Ultimate Edition, which I did pre-order and which hopefully will be arriving soon. It's a lot of stuff, so we'll see it when it gets here. So, table of contents. Soviet Baltic Offensive, 14 September to 24 November 1944. After crushing Army Group Center, the Red Army cleared the north flank of the front during the late summer and fall of 1944. Along the Baltic, Soviets realigned Estonia and most of Latvia and Lithuania. Even so, German Army Group North, renamed Army Group Courland, remained a strategic thorn in the side of the Soviets until VE Day, despite repeated Soviet attempts to eradicate it. And that is by Javier Romero Munoz. Strike on Rabaul, 2 November 1944, very interesting. German helicopter development, very interesting to read that, since I don't think they fielded any helicopters in World War II, I don't think. Maybe there was some prototype or something. Hard Luck Division, the U.S. 36th Infantry in Italy. That sounds pretty cool, too. So, let's see what else we get here. The Soviet Baltic Offensive. Here's our big feature article. Formation of the quote-unquote Baltic Gap. So, a nice magazine game that covers the same interesting topic as the OCS game Baltic Gap appeals to me. Operation Doppelkopf. Soviet offensive operations in Estonia and Latvia. Got some neat propaganda posters here. This is one of the islands in the, not on the map. I think this island is Sarana Island. That's right here, if you can see that on the map. Not sure I really had any visibility on that being invaded, but, you must have, obviously. All right, so that was a pretty big article here. Here is the game rules. Now, the way these are adhered into the magazine nowadays is they're literally adhered into the magazine. You don't have to tear them out anymore. You just kind of carefully peel them out, and they should come out. And on the back side of the rules will be the reply card. So if you accidentally tear this page, it's probably no big deal. All right, so Baltic Offensive. Game design here by Javier Romero Munoz. It actually gives you instructions on how to do that. And it uses the recent style of presentation that Decision has been using in their box games as well for not quite a few, but several years at least. We got a lot of specific things going on in specific parts of the map. So here's our movement section. they keep these pretty tight. It's kind of part of the discipline. As we found out when we talked to Joe Miranda on the Chit Show a month or two ago, part of the discipline of designing magazine games is that they got to fit in the magazine, right? And here's some brief designer's notes as well. Latest games from Revolution Games, GMT, and Legion. Not exactly latest at this point, but this is Desert Fox Games. That's another arm of Decision that sells other games and used games and things like that. German evacuation of Estonia and North Latvia. So this article continues. So the game rules here are going to be roughly 16 pages total. Realistically, that's more like 12 or 13 pages. So pretty tight looking game. The hexes, if you haven't, I don't know if it's possible to tell from the camera angle or not, but they are larger than normal, and the counters are 5/8" counters. So a pretty tight looking game. Soviet Corps, Offensive against Army Group Courland, 1944 to 1945. Design Corner by Joe Miranda, Baltic Offensive. World at War number 93. This is the magazine we're looking at. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm already looking at it. Okay, Strike on Rabaul, 2 November 1944. This ought to be interesting as well, by Alan Vinoy. Nice little map here. Plan Elkton 3. Operation Cartwheel as executed. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay, another fairly meaty looking article with some nice pictures in it too. Goes without, well, maybe it doesn't go without saying, but if you, I mean, the graphical presentation that we've seen over the last few years in the Decision stuff in general and in the magazine specifically has come a long way. Let's put it that way. D-Day at Saipan. This is the D-Day series, as originated by John Butterfield. D-Day at Saipan, I want to say, is the latest release. I've only played Omaha Beach and Pelelu, and those are both Dynamite games. Solitaire designs, by the way, if you didn't know. German helicopter development. These are some tiny looking helicopters. I'm not going to read the article here on camera, but this looks interesting, right? I had not given any thought to, were they working on that during World War II? Maybe. Apparently so. 4 prototypes by 1943. Okay, so here's an ad for some folio games, the Fire and Movement series. Arnhem Bastogne Showdown, which is the coming Indo-Pakistani War, and Aachen. Here's Hard Luck Division, the U.S. 36th Infantry Division in Italy. This will be interesting as well. And this is by Stephen Eden. Allied operations up to 25 September 1943. Progress was slow, up the boot, as it were. One reason why it's been traditionally a difficult game to do in war games, to be honest about it, because it was a kind of a slog. All right, so here's an ad for the new, what I think is going to be the upcoming S&T, which is Operation Albion and the Baltic Campaigns, 1917 to 1918. That sounds interesting. Roman fortifications, Task Force Faith in Korea, and the Russo-Turkish War, 1806 to 1812. That'll be interesting. I actually have a game on that. Which was probably an S&T game, thinking about it, but I'd have to dig it out. Game preview, Khalkhin-Gol War, Struggle for Mongolia. I believe this is going to be the couple issues from now. So this is issue number 93. 94 will be Kesselring's War, Decision in Italy, 43 to 45. So that U.S. Infantry Division article will actually kind of play into that. Khalkhin-Gol War, War Plan Z, the Kriegsmarine strikes. Campaigns in Europe, Army Group North, 1941. That's potentially interesting. Fall Blau, 1942. All right, Italy, 1944 to 45. This sounds cool. That looks like an interesting upcoming slate of things. All right, observation post. The Japanese plan to conquer Fiji, New Caledonia, and Samoa, Operation FS, by Vernie Liebel. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that. If so, I apologize. Here is an advertisement for Sea Lion. This is the new deluxe edition that Decision has just put out, and they actually just sent me that too. So you may see this video first, or you may see Sea Lion first, but you'll see videos on both of them, and it's pretty nice. As of this filming, I've already looked at it. What if Spain entered World War II in 1940 by Matthew Adams? Very interesting topic. I'd be curious to see what they have to say about that. It is a thing that has been speculated on endlessly by wargamers. So here's Luftwaffe. So apparently this is an update of the Avalon Hill Luftwaffe. I did not know that that was the case. How that rights situation managed to resolve itself in this way, I don't know, but apparently it has, and this has been out for a bit. That's not brand new. Then we got Italy at War, Caporetto in Italy 1917 to 18, and Return to Europe. Return to Europe looks pretty good too. That uses the Desert Fox Deluxe system, at least more or less, to handle the invasion of Sicily and southern Italy. And that is a topic of particular importance to me, as my ancestors came from that part of Italy. There's the Dornier 335 by Kelly Bell. So this looks good. Battles in the East, volumes 1 and 2. You have already seen my unboxings of both of those games. They look super duper promising, by designer Anthony Burkett. Very nicely presented by Decision. And I think they're working on volumes 3 and 4 as well. Now, when those will show up, I have no idea. Soviet Casualties, 1941 to 1945. Be prepared to see a lot of big numbers here, folks. By John Beatty. The Capture of the U-505, the U.S. Navy's controversial Enigma raid, Atlantic Ocean, 1944. Here's some ad for some map posters, which I don't know that I've seen on their website, but hey, maybe they're there. Digital edition, so you can get a digital subscription to the magazines nowadays as well. And if you don't want to deal with the magazines and aren't interested in the games, that's actually a pretty good way to go. Here's S&T Quarterly. This is relatively new. It's been around for 5 or 6 years now. War of 1812. This probably would be worth my time to get, because I'd like to learn more about the War of 1812. And here's Narvik 1940, which is the last issue of World at War magazine. That game looks fairly interesting as well. I've got a couple of these. I've got Great European War and Carolinian Twilight and Taizhuang. And those all look interesting. A little less interested in Taizhuang, but that's just because I don't know anything about that specific battle. Sponsored content by Kelly Bell, American Bible Society in the Second World War. Okay, and apparently this is the ad for them. And on the backs, S&T Quarterly issue number 24, Chinese Civil War. Boy, I need that, because I'm super interested in that. So, very interesting. So, at a glance, this looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the counter sheet. This is the counter sheet for Baltic Offensive. Counter artwork by Jose R. Faura. This is a supplement of World at War. I guess they don't put the issue number on here anymore, so, I mean, that's fine. Nobody's going to get bent out of shape about that. They are 5/8" counters, and they are on thicker stock, but they don't feel as thick as the counters in the new box games. But that could be because they're bigger counters and the sheet's just a little bendier. That is possible. Very nice looking counters. I detect, they're pretty close, stuff pretty close to the edge here, but I detect no actual registration issues. Most of them are double-sided anyway. At least the backs are colored, for Pete's sake. After going through some older games where the backs are just white, that's irritating, personally. Just for sorting purposes, if nothing else. We could have put something on the backs, but these are not like that. So we've got some chits down here. We got a bunch of German units, a bunch of Soviet units. We have what appear to be HQs and Soviet guards, which are pretty good units, but they're guards corps, where the German units appear to be divisions. For those who don't know, the phenomenon that we see in East Front war games, where the German units, if they're divisions, then the Soviet units will generally be corps, is not because the Soviet units were just a bunch of penal battalions stitched together and only have the combat factors that they have due to weight of numbers. The Soviet corps were approximately the same size in terms of number of men as the German divisions. Their organization was quite different at this particular level. So that is why we see that. Rather than calling them divisions, they were called corps, so we call them corps. And we got some event chits too, and then some out of supplies. I'm wondering if maybe that's not enough out of supply tickets, considering the fact that we're probably going to isolate all of the Germans up here at some point in the game. Not sure if you can see it, how much of it you can see. There is a turn record track here. There are 10 turns to the game. Very promising looking game. I've liked what I've seen over the last year or two of S&T and World at War, and this looks pretty good. I will be happy to add this to the library, and hopefully we'll get it to a table at some point. In fact, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to have like a monthly magazine game day or something like that, just to get these things to the table. Lord knows I got enough monsters, but I'm pretty lucky in terms of getting those to the table. So I am going to put a link in the video description to the page whereby one can order or subscribe to World at War magazine. Thanks for watching. I'd like to give a special shout out to the patrons of Ardwulf's Lair, without whose support and encouragement it would be impossible to continue doing the stuff that we do here at Ardwulf's Lair. So thank you, patrons. Thanks once again to Decision Games for sending me World at War issue number 93 along with the associated Baltic offensive game. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.